Hello, everybody, and welcome to another It Gets Butter. This episode is a lot of firsts. We have our first call-in guest. We have our first dessert recipe. Look for that in the description. And it is probably, maybe the friend I've known the longest that we have on the podcast. We've gone back and forth. He's been through everything. He's done everything, and he keeps a positive attitude the whole time. Find out how, find out why, find out what he's been through as we talk to Tampa legend Chuck Henson on this episode of It Gets Butter. Now, episode starts now. Let's go ahead and start our episode. This is a new episode of It Gets Butter, and I am here with my longtime friend. I was trying to think of how long I've actually known you, but my friend Chuck Henson.
Probably going on 20 years or so.
Yeah, because we go back to when I was working with and then starting to run St. Pete Pride, and I was like early 20s, and you were working with Tigliff at the time.
That's right. That's right. I did.
We would run into each other at the office type thing, you know, and when there was a shared room office back in the day.
At that point, we were both professional gays. I told my mom when I was describing when I was the executive director of the film festival, I said, "Mom, as a professional gay, these are my duties." She was like, "Stop it, stop it."
My parents have never seen me as professional and barely as gay. So we are sitting today with our very first call-in. This is very exciting, all very exciting, all first here. Our very first call-in with Chuck Henson, the one, the only, my friend Chuck Henson. Chuck, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've had a bit of a storied, like I said, we just talked. You helped run the Tampa Gay International Lesbian Film Festival, which was fantastic here in Tampa. But you're kind of you're a Tampa Bay legend, let's say. I would say that.
I'm not afraid. I'd say that. I've lived
one of my
Tampa
favorite
Bay.
things, real quick.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things, because I've just always been friends with you. If you don't think you're a legend, I remember you said happy birthday to me once on my Facebook, and a friend of mine was like, "Chuck Henson said happy birthday to you?" And I was like, "Yeah, Chuck."
Like, dude, you got to hang in better circles if that's your high bar. I lived in Tampa. Well, I'm still technically in Tampa Bay, although now I live in Inverness, which is the far, far north end. It's funny because I moved here about a year and a half ago. By the way, if you want to know where you can still get a lot of house for your money, it's Citrus County, Florida. It was if I moved to Siberia for the folks in Tampa. I've had plenty of people come out and visit, which is nice, but it really is hey, let me know the next time you're in town. Okay, yeah, let you know. That's not a whole lot. But I moved to Tampa almost right at the millennium, just after the millennium, to be the director of operations for a media company called Westwood One. And folks that aren't familiar with Westwood One, if you listen to any kind of sports on the radio or any of the countdown shows, Delilah, things like that, those are all Westwood One products. So what we did in Tampa was news, weather, and sports for about 20 radio and TV stations in town. So that's kind of how I got my introduction to Tampa. But I left that gig. You know what's that?
Yes, nice.
Yeah, it was a great way to get to know Tampa Bay through the media market. So after that, as you mentioned, I was the executive director for the Tampa International Gay and Lesbian Film Festival for 3 years. I had the privilege of ushering in their 20th anniversary. Now, that festival is heading toward their 50th anniversary, not that far down the road now. One of the longest standing and one of the largest gay and lesbian film festivals in the country still. You know, in this current environment of screens in front of us all day long, the pleasure of going to a movie is lost on a lot of people. You know, they stream things.
Very true,
and I always, Jeff, I reveled in the fact that we could take a beautiful structure like the Tampa Theater, which, like the Fox Theater in Atlanta and the Castro in San Francisco, were designed to be movie houses. They've got the twinkle lights in the ceiling and the beautiful architecture and the organist that comes up and out of the stage and that environment.
You feel like you're outside, inside type thing. If
you've never been to the Tampa Theater, anyone who's watching or listening to this, go. It's an experience. It's an amazing, amazing piece of American history. But to own that building for 2 weeks, I know every nook and cranny of that space. I know all the ghosts by name. It was so great. But as far as my professional gay career, as we mentioned earlier, those 3 years really introduced me to so many of the people that, in years past that, when I would MC the Equality Florida Gala or something like that. And all of those people that make Tampa Bay the amazing place to live as it is, we're all in the room. It's inspiring. It's really inspiring to see those people work.
Yeah,
so after that, I was fortunate enough to get a gig with a local TV station, Bay News 9. I was there. They called me the real-time traffic expert for 11 years.
Right.
I looked at the news sometimes. I did some reporting as well, and it was a really wonderful gig. But the thing that most people in the country, I guess, know me as is for 35 years, I was the voice of Bands of America, which is a national nonprofit education advocacy organization, actually the largest in the country now. They produce events for high school music programs. So in the fall, there are fall marching band championships. There's the National High School Marching Band Championship, concert band festival, summer camp, and I did all their stadium work for 35 years. So when I started that event, there were kids in the band when I started who have kids in the band and are heading toward grandkids in the band now. And that community has really been something I've identified with a lot throughout my career. But I miss living in Tampa, and I miss all my friends there for sure.
Yeah, I can absolutely understand that. And what a wild feeling when kids you saw grow up are now, you're meeting their kids. That's such a wild situation to be in.
I was at the gym once when I had a trainer in St. Pete, and I was going to what was it at the time? It doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm with my trainer. I'm getting ready to do a set, and this kid comes up to me, and he's probably in his 20s. I mean, he's not a kid, but he was like, "Man, I just want you to know I grew up watching you on TV." And I said, "Thank you." I go, "That was really sweet of you." And then when he walked away, I turned to my trainer and I go, "I've been on television for 11 years." But in his world, he was 10 when I started. So he did grow up watching me.
That's his life.
It's all perspective, right? Life is perspective.
So let's start with, let's get into what is your relationship with, how would you describe your relationship with food?
Seafood. I see food and I eat it. I am one of those very fortunate human beings who has, actually, I just had my blood pressure done last week. It was like 98/70 something. I mean, I have a very lean, thin frame, and I always have. My dad was built like this. My mom was built like this. Genetics suck, and they're amazing at the same time. You want to see my mother's knees? They're right here. They're below me. And I am one of those people that I'm very fearful now. I'm 63 years old now, and I'm actually fearful, Jeff, that as I go through the next 10 years of my life, that I'm going to struggle with mobility issues because of the thinness of my body. I don't have the weight to structurally allow my muscles to do their thing. And for the last almost 2.5 years, I haven't been able to go to the gym at all because of several issues I've had with my sight, with my right eye, a lot of surgeries and things like that. So when you have a lean frame that's always in ketosis, you eat everything you can all the time. And when I was a kid, I would eat so fast, that it just made people uneasy. Like, how did you adjust it all right away? It was a creepy kind of eating is what I did. So now I just, I'm just doing my best. My relationship with food is awesome, in a word. There are a few things I don't like, and who doesn't love good food, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's funny, and I guess it is, I don't know if your ability to eat anything and stay lean thanks to genetics, which, the good and bad of it, as we just said, because I eat anything and I worry about mobility due to my weight, because my knees
when I met you were a very skinny little kid, that's for sure.
I was a skinny little kid, and I'm twice the man I used to be. That's my relationship with food.
There you go.
What was curious is another first on the show, which is kind of also fun, is you're bringing us the first dessert for comfort food, which is interesting. We're more than a couple episodes in right now, and it seems like savory has been people's go-to comfort food, and maybe that's due to family dinner, whatever it is that's really clicking and that type of comfort food. But you are bringing us. Let's talk about your favorite comfort food, and I love this.
Dude, I have started.
Apples. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, say it.
I was going to say apple strawberry pie, and of course you're making it from scratch.
Yeah.
Because you're a business guy, and that's what we do.
We do it right, and we don't do it at all.
Exactly, because we will be judged. So apple strawberry pie. Tell me about that. How'd that come into your life? You said it in the last year or so.
It was so good. Well, first of all, in the last year or so, I've really become someone who likes to bake a lot.
Okay.
Baking to me is a couple things. It's cathartic, right? So the stress of the day, you can check out, go into the kitchen, put some flour on a cutting board, and just start into it. And it allows you to kind of process, I think, when you're kneading dough and things like that. It's a great way to sort of decompress your vagus nerve and allow your shoulders to not be worn as earrings. But the beautiful thing about baking, Jeff, is that it's an exact science. You follow the recipe. And in that regard, I can check out, what's next, what's next. My AI and I, we do a lot of talking while I'm baking. We talk about quantum physics and all kinds of things like that. But this pie, it was almost born out of what's in the fridge. I had a bag of apples that I had gotten at the store. And I think I had a pint of strawberries. Grocery store here had them like 3 pints for whatever. It's toward the end of the season for strawberries, so they're trying to unload them on everybody. And and I was like, okay, I don't know how this is going to come out, but let's see what happens. And so I, macerated the strawberries. I put a little flour in there to kind of thicken them up a little bit because you don't want that strawberry juice to make your crust completely goo.
Nobody wants a soggy bottom. I'm well aware. Yeah.
Well, there's someone for everyone, Jeff. And then with the apples, almost the same thing. So I peeled and cored the apples. I sliced them up. I put them in a cooker and cooked them down with some sugar and cinnamon. And so now I'm looking at these 2 bowls of things that I have prepped as if I were making them separately.
Right.
And when it came time to put that filling in the pie, I went gloop. And it was, when that thing came out of the oven, it was the greatest thing I had ever tasted in my life. The flavors of the sweetness of the strawberries and the kind of tartness of the apples that I used blended perfectly. I mean, I was doing yum yum sounds all alone in my house. I should have recorded that because it was like, you probably don't remember, years and years and years ago, there was a television chef. He went by Chef Tell was his name. And he used to say, "Oh, I wish you had smell-o-vision because you could smell it." And I was doing that to myself alone with my dogs in the house. It was fantastic. I made it twice since then, and it's come out perfect every time. Like I will back up a little bit because when I was a kid, my dad had a sweet tooth, a real sweet tooth. And we almost, by law, had to have ice cream in the house all the time. And so that's kind of the rule at my house as well. I've always got ice cream. And if you want a little like decadent little side treat that I would be ashamed to admit that I'm going to admit right now.
Yes.
Walmart. Ooh, I said it out loud. Walmart has Neapolitan ice cream bars. And it's a pack of 12 for like $3.
Nice.
Oh my God, they're so good. They're so good. So I'm like making this pie, chomping on an ice cream bar, saying, "Thanks, Dad. I appreciate the addiction I have to ice cream now." But sweets have always been my thing. Desserts have always been my thing. Not necessarily chocolate per se. Chocolate's fine, but I prefer fruit flavors and whipped things and meringues and candied stuff and things like that. To rock.
So always had that sweet tooth, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. That's interesting, and definitely
my sweet tea.
Having ice cream in the house.
I drink sweet tea all day long. It's probably why I'm so hyperactive and crazy too, because of all the sugar.
What? You think sugar can do that? That's weird.
It serves me well on television. I can tell you that.
Well, there you go. He's always got good energy. That's what they say about him. He's got good energy. No, that's great. And it's funny, because when you sent it, and I was like, oh, strawberries and apples together. And that's not something I had thought of, but it's curious to me because I guess it's almost like, you very famously is a strawberry rhubarb pie, right?
Yeah, I'm not a rhubarb fan per se, but I can see how those two would go together. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit more classic combination, but I think an apple can take the place of that rhubarb because it's adding that little bit of a tartness or something, and it's still adding some sugar in. And I could see that being a more commonplace because, I mean, honestly, I've never tried a rhubarb. I've never cooked with a rhubarb.
It's okay.
It's
okay. I can tell the
probably pick one out of a lineup if I had to. If it had committed a crime, I'd be like, I think that's a rhubarb.
It's not like doing pumpkin or sweet potato pie because those are both delicious. Right. Rhubarb is a vegetable to me, and why would I put a vegetable in my pie? That seems just
so. Yeah, so I'm excited to try your recipe, and I'm excited to get your recipe out. Yeah. So it's I'm falling way behind on it, but at some point I am going to personally cook all of the recipes people give.
Oh, that's fantastic!
And then kind of a little compendium video out of like a quick version of me trying it. And listen, there are some of the recipes I'm not looking forward to. My friend Alex, God bless her, hers was sliced kielbasa cooked with onions, which I don't love onions.
Yeah,
and then served with
sauteed onions are okay, but
I get she's like caramelizing the onions way down, so I get you're getting the sweetness of that, and that kind of makes sense. Yeah,
it'll be fine.
And then she says serve it with instant mashed potatoes, which made me angry in my soul, but I'm going to cook it the way she eats it, so I can, I want to try people's comfort food as they would make it.
Yeah, what brings you comfort is different for everyone, and if that's her version of that, then I'll stay in my lane on that. I won't poo-poo on that. There's enough division in the world. I'm not going to choose mashed potatoes as my line in the sand.
I did. It's on the podcast, and I was very adamant about it. But I will still try it though. Because I am going to, I'm definitely going to try all of these. I'm very excited about that. So one thing also, obviously we talked about the comfort food, and I'm so happy to share these recipes with people, and I'm happy to finally give people a dessert recipe. We've already had 2 very different versions of lasagna on here. So dessert recipe people need that. We're ready for it.
I heard the one last week. I enjoyed the one last week with using the rigatoni instead of lasagna noodles. I didn't know lasagna was such a burden to people, but I guess,
Well, I mean, it's funny because lasagna's been around for so long and lasagna noodles have been around for so long. And then at some point, I remember, what was it, maybe 5-10 years ago, they came out with like lasagna noodles that fit your pan. And I was like, why did this take this long to make it fit the pan? We've always just been breaking them, and that has stressed people out.
We're so sad. As a culture, we're just horrible. We're horrific humans that we can't cut our own noodles to length.
I know, we're like, I can't figure this out. It doesn't fit.
If there's a way to sell us something, we'll figure it out.
Exactly. But the idea of just using rigatoni, because also I just love rigatoni. Like that's as a pasta for me.
So okay, well let me ask you that. So pasta to me I like pasta a great deal. I eat a lot of pasta. But if I'm at the store and there's the shelf, and there's elbow and spirals and rigatoni and garden and aren't they the same?
No,
they're all pasta.
My goodness, no. All right,
do they
they're
taste
all pasta
differently?
Arguably, yes, and here's why. So their thickness is going to be different on some of them.
Sure.
All right.
Okay, I got that. Yeah.
Thickness and reason for it. So like a rigatoni is going to have a ridge around it. That's going to catch your sauce more. So if you have like a red sauce and you want something that's going to catch sauce more, that's going to be for that. If you have something that's a little bit more of a binding sauce, like a bechamel, or if you're looking at like your mac and cheese, that's what elbows.
French.
I know. There you go. They're little mother sauce for you. That's going to have, you could use a smooth noodle for that, and you want something smaller with the creaminess in there. So they all serve a unique purpose, and even when it comes to like spaghetti, angel hair, pappardelle, all of that, your width and your thickness of the noodle, you're just going with like, how much do you want to actually have a chew on your noodle?
I tell you, I've learned something today.
Yeah, that's the little thing, like fettuccine Alfredo, you don't want a heavy pasta sauce and a chewy noodle. That's 2 heavy things on top of each other. So you're doing a little bit, fettuccine's a little bit, yeah. Chewy noodle was my name in high school.
I'll tell you a little sidebar. Speaking of like steak names, so anytime any of the meteorologists at Bay News 9 when I was working, if they were doing the weather and they said gusty squalls, I was like, I know her. She's fantastic. You should really watch her.
She works Friday nights at the bar. She's amazing.
It's the best. Sorry, my brain works like that.
No, you're good. I love that. The amount of times we will quote a drag queen's name, everything can be. There's just so many. My partner Matt was his early. Everybody. I don't know if people know this out there that aren't in the gay community, but almost any gay man has a drag name. It's for whatever reason we see something we're like, and we may never do drag, but at some point we're just like, that would be my drag name. So he was looking at sugar packets at a diner once, and it said Sweet Portions, and he was like, well, that'd be my drag name. It's Sweet Portions.
Sweet Portions. That's awesome.
And it's just one of those. It's just part of the community. You see it, and you're like, well, that's what it would be.
Well, you never know when a good turnaround is going to be popping up somewhere.
Absolutely.
I did one.
True story.
I've done that once when I was with the film festival. We did a little drag thing at. It wasn't. Oh gosh, it was the state. Oh, it's escaping me now. Ybor City, famous venue with a stage across the street from what used to be Czar.
Yeah. So what that was? Place. Yeah, and not
anyway.
State
I did one number. She sadly took her life after that performance to never be seen again. I did Varla Jean Merman's Schoolhouse Rock. Was the
nice.
number.
I love Varla.
And I worked hard on that thing, and I was awful. I looked like a mix between a bad school marm and a flight attendant. I think is probably the best way to describe it.
That's still. I've done it a couple times for St. Pete Pride when I was on the board there.
When there's a good cause, sure, it's fun.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times. And here's what I've always said about it. I was anxious to do it the first time, and then I went, you know what? I did theater growing up. What's the difference of me dressing up in a suit and playing Willie Loman or dressing up in a dress?
If you're not going to have a good time with it, don't bother. You know?
Just play the character and have fun.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the other thing we talk about on the show is hard times we've been through. I always like, and I've been I will tell you, the guests on the show, and I love every amount of generosity I've gotten from people because people have talked about deep things to them. Everything I think of is an opportunity for somebody else going through something out there to hear that they're not alone and to hear another way somebody got through it. And that's kind of been the point of the podcast, other than me just getting free recipes. That's the point of the podcast. To create a community that people can find, something, I'm also going through something like that. Let's hear how this person got through it. And I feel the best advice.
Oh, sorry, Tom's eating the microphone. Sorry.
She's like, I want to be on. So they heard butter, and they were like, let's taste it. I always find some of the best advice for getting through something is somebody who's been through it.
Yeah.
Because that's a real life scenario right there.
And the older you get, and I can say this from personal experience, those pivots in life that you have to make are harder and harder. It was easy when I was in my 20s and 30s and 40s to reinvent myself. You just go, okay, let's move on. But, when it happens in your late 50s or 60s, when you're at a time in your life when you're supposed to be on the path to the happy ever after sort of thing that we have, it's a lot more difficult. And for me, that would have been probably leaving Bay News 9 and going through divorce almost simultaneously.
Right.
It was rough, really rough for me because my whole identity had been wrapped up in the fact that I did morning TV in Tampa. And
let's repeat. How long were you on Bay News 9?
11 years.
11 years. And how long were you in your relationship?
5.
Okay, so 11 years and 5 years. Both very kind of long-term. We're in a commitment. These are commitments type thing.
Yeah, and it takes 2 to tango. So as far as the relationship was concerned, I played my part in tearing that apart. But when it was over, when all was said and done, I It wasn't in the job I had wanted to do my entire life. I wasn't in a relationship, and I didn't have any money. I mean, like,
Right. Yeah.
I will share with you, I will overshare with you that this house I'm in right now, when I sold my place in St. Pete through that process, I paid cash for this house because the market was just in such a great place that I could buy this house outright. And it was really important to me that I not have a mortgage when this was all done. The day I closed on this house, and I'm not exaggerating at all, I had $51.
Oh, wow.
Not $51 and a retirement account.
Yeah.
$51. And that's where that all ended up with me. It was a lot of really poor planning on my part. I had a great 401k 5 years prior to that, but a series of events between me and my ex at the time caused us to have to dip into that fund and dip into that fund and dip into that fund until there was no more fund, and then there was no more, and then there was no more relationship. So it's starting over is hard, but you know what? You have to. What's the alternative, right?
That's a great way to think about it. Yeah.
And as you mentioned, there are other. I'm not the only one who's gone through something like that. A lot of people have, and I'm super happy. I mean, this community and where I live is really nice. It's a great little small town.
There's literally birds chirping behind you right now to really emphasize that point.
I had 600 kids for trick or treat last year.
That's amazing.
600 kids. That's what small town America still does. The courthouse is less than a mile from me. It's this beautiful, picturesque, like Mayberry RFD, beautiful building that everything is built around it, and it's people say hi when they pass you on the street. Now, there are challenges here as well. Politically, there are a lot of challenges here, but I'd like to think that I'm part of the solution for that and not part of the problem. As far as being gay in this kind of community, you have to be careful still. It's not an urban environment. I didn't put my pride flag out last June, and I always put my pride flag out because I just didn't want things spray painted on my house when I woke up the next morning. That's still a reality for folks that live in the rural areas, and which is why our struggle and our battle to make the world a better place is never ending. It's like coming out. You have to do it your whole life.
Yes.
And so being a good example in this town, trying to be the citizen I would want other people to be, is something I'm trying to focus on as well. And then just being me. If you're authentically yourself, even when you're going through those really difficult times, if you always remain true to who you are, then everything's going to be fine. Because when you spend time worrying, I just had this conversation with a client yesterday. I don't worry about a lot of stuff because worrying isn't going to change the outcome.
Right.
There's a difference between that and being prepared. It's like a college kid stressing over an exam. I'm really worried about that exam. Well, are you prepared? Well, then don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's like preparing for the end of the world, which may be tomorrow. We don't know. If the politician, if the ruling Epstein class decides that tomorrow's the day they shut the grid down to distract from the Epstein files, can you survive for a couple of weeks without electricity? I can, because I'm prepared for something like that. I'm not a doomsday guy, and I'm not a prepper by any means, but I'm smart, and I know that something like that is realistic and might happen. So why not be prepared for it?
Being ready is different than
I'm not going to worry about it, but if it happens, I'm like, all right, roll, let's go. So it was a tough year and a half, and then of course the stuff with my vision at the same time, all of that, thank God.
It was a lot, one after another. Yeah,
it was really kind of stacked. Yeah, and my eyesight thing is torn and detached retina, which is not uncommon to the world. But mine has detached enough times that they put a buckle around my eye, and then I detached with the buckle. And I offered my surgeon to go with him on a tour as to what could possibly go wrong. The vision that I have is very limited now. Thankfully, sorry, the dog's sitting in the tripod now too. He's a big guy. He's a big old golden doodle named Miles, who's going to be about 85 pounds. And right now he's just 9 months old. So he's all arms and elbows.
He doesn't have the metabolism you do.
Yeah, he doesn't understand boundaries or anything like that. thankfully, if I blow things up big enough and hold the phone close enough to my face, I can read like through a script or something like that. But obviously, that's something I couldn't do in a public manner. Like I retired from Bands of America for that very reason. I would not want to embarrass myself or the organization by struggling through the name of a composer while kids are in the field trying to do their best. So the things that it's been really fun because I know your guest last week was a massage therapist, and now I'm a massage therapist as well.
2 massage therapists, one right after another right now.
And I tried to do a lot more in the digital realm that I can use my talents from television and being a public persona and a voice talent to do that. So I've started a podcast called The Real Happy Ending, which is a wellness-based podcast based here out of my home. So those scripts I'm able to put together and perform those. I'm doing some digital products like stillness things, like that stuff where you go, take a big deep breath. Yeah, that dark, rich resonance voice.
Centering,
Those are available on a PayHip link. I've got some other YouTube ventures trying to get things to, as all of us do, try to make this some kind of an earning thing as well. But I'm so proud of you, man, to know you as long as I have and to watch your career move forward. And I know at the beginning when you said you wanted to do comedy, we all went, yeah, Jeff, that's a great idea.
Yeah, sure, you're funny.
And my man, you have stuck with it and you have honed your craft. And that's what it takes. It takes that kind of intuitive ability to just buckle down and go, this is what I want to do. And as far as my life and my career is concerned, this is where I want to be right now. And this is what I want to do. And it's a good chance to breathe.
I appreciate you saying that. So I've been at it for, it'll be 12 years this year. And I remember about year 5 or 6, somebody I started with doing comedy had stopped doing it, and I ran into them somewhere. And they said, "Oh, you're still doing comedy?" And I thought, well, yeah, I'm not a comedian yet. Like I haven't achieved it. Like my goal is to become a stand-up comedian that can do this, support himself, and I understand that's going to take a long time. But to me, the thought process seemed insane to drop out of it because I haven't done it yet. So I need to keep working to.
Dude, let me tell you,
but that's when I found my own lane.
Yeah. And that you will continue to hone that craft as you work it and talk to other people and watch other people. That's how people would come to me all the time and go, how do I become a public address announcer? I go, well, first of all, find someone that you really like and emulate them. Yes. I mean, imitation is the best form of flattery. Listen to how their voice rises and falls. Listen to the pauses. Listen to where they, put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable and things like that. And you will learn from those experiences. And comedy is the same way. Have you ever gone back and watched some of your beginner stuff and just cringe at it?
Well, so it's funny. Not only have I done that, one thing I do, and actually encourage other comedians to do, is I love taking a joke I wrote year 2, year 3, and I'll bring it on stage now because I'm a different person now saying that joke. My point of view is different.
Your
so
life
if I take that same
experience,
structure
what you bring to that stage is all different.
And my understanding of the craft is different. So I always find it interesting is this joke funny today? And sometimes it is, but sometimes it is because the way I'm doing it is now funny.
Yeah.
But it's also very different than I would have done it 9 years ago. So I like doing that to remind myself also where I came from. But yeah, I have.
You become a better storyteller.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
what it is. It's all storytelling. It's what I do as well. I tell stories. It's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You tell stories. And they're relatable stories that make people smile and laugh. And believe me, we need a lot more of that in the world today.
Amen to that. So, all right. So let me ask you. Let's go back a little bit. So, let's look at the time period because it was like within a 2 to 3 year period where you left Bay News 9. You went through the divorce, and then you started having the vision problems. Was that all within like a 2 to 3 year period?
Yeah, so summer of 2022 is when I left Bay News 9. I pretty much went right back into school at that point, for massage therapy. Went to Cortiva there in St. Petersburg. And so got that program out of the way. Thank God I got that program out of the way because I couldn't do it now. I couldn't pass the course now because I couldn't read the material. So I got that out of the way. The relationship was kind of having its issues throughout that period.
Sure.
The vision.
I'm sure that stress didn't help anything.
Yeah. The vision issue was literally I woke up the Friday before Christmas, 2023. So just almost a year later. And I describe it as if I wore contacts, and I didn't at the time, that my contact lens had shifted to the lower left corner of my vision and it was black. Like I had a definitive line, and there was nothing below it and perfect vision above it. Well, by the end of the day...
That's very scary to wake up to.
Oh my God, I was like, what is going on with my eye? And by the end of the day, that had creeped its way to where I just had peripheral vision on one side. Because as your retina tears, obviously its ability to do its job falls away. And by the way, for anyone who's watching, if you ever have these two symptoms, flashes of light in your vision or heavy floaters, we all have floaters in our vision, but really heavy floaters like that look like boxes. Those are the top two symptoms of retinal detachment, and you should go immediately and have it checked out because in my case, I went and had it checked out, and the doctor that I went to went, "Oh, Mr. Henson, your vision is no better or worse than any other man your age." And I literally went, to him. And 2 months later, everything crashed, and my life has not been the same since. So between 2022 and Christmas of 2023 is really when the bulk of all of this happened. Since 2023, I've been 5 surgeries and the recovery. You know, when you have retinal surgery, you have to be face down and not move for a week. Afterwards. So I've done that 5 times. And it's ain't pleasant when that happens. You know, there's only so much YouTube you can watch like this all day long.
So I think my question to you is, with so much happening in a relatively short amount of time, and you know, a year and then a year plus with everything, the other surgeries and so on, how do you think you found your way to the positive attitude you have today and you're able to keep? Because let's be honest, any one of those 3 things could affect an everyday person's positive attitude to be less positive. And I would imagine going through it, maybe not always a positive attitude going through any of those 3 things, which is
my best friend.
Completely understandable.
My best friend Bruce and my best friend Kathy, who live in Pittsburgh and Wisconsin, respectively, were my lifeline during that whole process. There was a time, and Jeff, you know me for a long time. I've always been very upbeat and positive. My glass is always half full, and that's the nature of who I am as a person. So having that at the beginning was certainly a benefit to me, you know, to be able to go, it'll be fine. But there was one point, I'm sitting in a lawn chair under a tree at my next door neighbor's house while there are people looking at my home to buy it because I can't afford it anymore. And I'm talking to my best friend Bruce, and I said to him, I don't want to be here anymore. And he thought I meant I'm going to hurt myself. What I meant was, this is not my life. Like, whatever this transition is, I don't want to be here anymore. I got to be somewhere else. And when the house sold, and I found this place in Inverness and was able to, you know, it was a fixer-upper like everything is, and I put a roof on it and a sewer line, I built the fence, and I mean, all kinds of projects. But it's given me new resolve and helped me to recenter. I'm not the same guy I was then. I'm not. None of us are. You're not the same person you were 5 minutes ago, you know? And when we come to the realization that this is where I am and this is what I'm working with, and my life is great. You know, I mean, I've always said, Jeff, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. The luckiest guy in the world. Doors have opened when they were supposed to, and I was smart enough to walk through them. You know, I didn't get my first TV gig until I was 45 years old. You know, most people have been well ensconced in their career by then. And speaking of early work you wouldn't want to watch, that. But, you know, you learn, and I had people around me who have been very supportive, but Bruce and Kathy really pulled me through all of that and helped me to remember who I am.
that support of close friends seems to be a recurring theme on the podcast, which and I don't think we can overstate enough what a good support system can do for you. I'm very fortunate. I get to every month I have a Zoom call with 3 of my close friends from high school.
Yeah, in fact, we've started doing that as well. My college friends and I have started doing that as well.
Oh, nice. These were the first 3 people that I ever came out as gay to as well, because they were the ones I felt comfortable with and safe with, and so that was 20 plus years ago, and we still visit each other. We stay in touch, and you have to make there's work to do that, but every time I get to see them, it's also one of the great things is seeing them succeed and reminding them that they're succeeding. I have a friend who just told me how his life, nothing really is exciting here. And then he went on to say that one daughter qualified for the next level of soccer that she's in. One's in a recital. Yeah. His wife is now designing clothes and designs for Bass Pro Shops after she worked with Wrangler. And I'm like, and he was just in Miami doing, because he does advertising, doing a video production shoot. And I was like, your life is very exciting, but sometimes it takes a friend to take a step back and say, hey, you're doing very well.
You absolutely nailed it. I think it's maybe episode 6 or 7 of the Real Happy Ending podcast where I talk about the power of our tribe. Those people that mean so much to you that just being in their presence lowers your blood pressure.
Yes.
It's interesting because here in this town, I haven't found that yet. The gay community is kind of elusive in rural America. And so I've yet to find a group of people here that I can go to that level with. But you were talking about your friends that you get on the Zoom call with and their successes. And I was just commenting this week with a friend of mine that so many of the people that I have had close associations with through either television or radio or the pageantry arts through marching band and things like that are all now being inducted into their various halls of fame.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever, that we all found each other and we've all gotten to a point in our careers where we've succeeded to a point where that sort of recognition is coming to you. Music for All put me in their Hall of Fame in 2012, and these other people, blah, blah, blah. And it's just so nice to see that the people we chose to bring around us are so supportive. Yes. It's not about my success, it's about their success, and that we can all celebrate that, and in return, it just comes back to you tenfold. Being a good person, being a nice person has never gone out of style. We've just kind of forgotten it a little bit because of the political situation in our country right now.
Yeah, I think a simple way to think of it, and the way I think of it, is be the person in somebody else's life that you would want in yours. Like when I see a comedian get a gig that's good for them, or something that I wish I could have gotten, I can be jealous about it, or I can be really happy for them. And the jealousy serves nobody in that situation. But how many people are cheering them on and congratulating? And that's what I want to be. Because I would love that, So that's what I want to be, that guy.
That good karma comes back to you, man. It comes back to you. And if you're on a deep ethereal level, if you're like a quantum theory person, there's quantum studies that show these quantum particles that are doing their thing. And if you look at them, their behavior changes. Like they know, like weird, spooky science stuff. Like, as a matter of fact, that's what Einstein called it. Spooky effects or something like that. So you are changing your entire world when you do something like that. And you're doing so in a mechanical way in your brain that also is going to change everything about how you live your life and how people perceive you and the opportunities you're going to get because of those single individual moments. You're creating a wave of positivity that's going to impact the whole world. That's cool, right?
I don't like calling myself a hero, but if other people want to call me a hero, that's fine. So, all right. So, Chuck, what advice would you give somebody who's having to go through a multitude of hurdles, one right after another. It seems like every time, like, oh, I can't believe this just happened. And as I'm about to get over that, this just happened. Okay. Yeah. But as I'm about to get over that, this just happened. What advice would you give somebody going through that?
A couple things. I think you can't create self-fulfilling prophecies for yourself. The woe is me attitude that can be created in that can be self-fulfilling. Then everything starts to crash because you expect it to be. When you expect the best, when you hang out with the best, when you behave as though the best behave, then the best is what happens to you. Now, that's not to say that happens all the time. Of course not. Into everyone's life, a hurricane comes. God didn't send it. It's just a weather phenomenon, but how you react to those things, everybody in St. Pete after Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton, think of the devastation these poor folks had to go through to rebuild their entire lives. Not just my situations with medical and jobs. They had to literally rebuild their lives. There's always someone who's got it worse than you. You got to keep that in mind. And through everything, you're going to be fine. However it works out, it's going to work out. Worrying about it's not going to be a problem. Bitching about it's not going to be a problem. Now, you should have a place to vent, for sure. Find those people who understand that I need 5 minutes of screaming. And go scream. But when someone comes to you with things like that, there's a couple ways you can react as well. You can say, okay, stop me. Let me stop you for a second, because how am I supposed to hear this? Do you want me to just listen? Do you just need a sounding board? Because I can be that. I can nod my head and listen and you vent. Or do you want me to help you fix it? And if you want me to help you fix it, I can do that as well. But you got to be willing to hear what I've got to say back to you.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people are just going to want to vent. And that's all they need is a sounding board that's not going to be judgy, no rules, no judgment. Say what you need to say. I'm your safe place. Ultimate advice, we create our own realities. And so, as bad as things get, they can always be worse.
That's fair too. And I'm going to put this on people when they need to complain to something or to somebody. I'm going to put a little bit of onus on you, and this is something I've started doing, and I will put out there. Be aware of if you're going to, like, for my partner, if I'm complaining to Matt, I should preface, and I start to preface now with, like, I just need you to listen. So that way he understands what his job is in it.
Yeah. That's smart.
Or I need help with a solution on this. Because nothing, and I get it, when you're in a state and you just want to complain and then they give you, well, what about this? And I'm like, I don't need that right now. What I need,
I don't need to put layers on top of what I'm already dealing with.
Yeah. And honestly, and that takes 2 seconds, 3 seconds from us to let the person know, this is my expectation, this is what I need. And listen, and if that person doesn't give you what you, and if they can't give you what you need at that point, that's a whole different discussion. But typically, somebody's going to be like, "This is my friend. This is who I care about. This is what they need. This is what I'm going to give them." So, don't make people guess, because people will guess wrong, and that's not their fault. They don't know at the time, and they don't know to ask sometimes. Yeah. So.
And we all perceive things differently. Your problems, when I hear them, I might go, that's nothing. But that could be the world to you. So, if you need that line, I tell people all the time, I've created a metaphorical line. And everything I need to worry about or be concerned with is below the line. And the things that need my attention are above the line. Everything's below the line. You just can't. I feel like Alfred E. Newman sometimes. What, me worry? It stresses people out that I don't stress out.
But that's its own wonderful coping mechanism that you personally have. Much like
you're right.
Your body has that wonderful coping mechanism of not gaining weight.
Yeah. Smoke and mirrors, my friend. Smoke and mirrors.
All right, so let's get back to your comfort food. That wonderful pie. What type of person? Who do you see coming home and baking this? Who do you see as, like,
well,
if you were to picture it, which is a weird thing to think, like, who would eat this food? But, like, I always try to think, like, if you closed your eyes right now and pictured who's making this, who do you see making this right now?
It's I'm going to use my own reflection to kind of project onto other people. But it's anyone who needs time alone. Because it's not about the pie.
Yeah. It's the process.
The whole thing. If you go, I don't have time. I don't have time to do that. I got this, and we got soccer practice, and I got to pick up the kids at school, and we got to blah, 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 blah. You got time.
Right.
You make time for the things that are important to you. And you should be important to you. Right. So I'd like to see everybody doing something like this. I never considered myself. There was a relationship I was in for 9 years with a guy that was an amazing in the kitchen. Amazing. Like beef bourguignon type amazing in the kitchen.
Right.
Did cinnamon rolls on the weekends. The house would just smell so amazing. And he would say the same sort of thing. It's cathartic. For me, cooking, baking is cathartic. For you, maybe it's going to be that pickleball team you're a part of. Maybe that's where your cathartic moment comes in. I like food and I like to eat food, so I figure, well, if I make what I like, then I'm going to be in good shape. In fact, I think I'm doing a blueberry pie this afternoon.
Ooh, nice. And that's funny because that mirrors. I had my friend Eddie Shasek on. It's third, fourth episode, something like that, and he's somebody who travels a lot for work, so he's always on the road, always in hotels. But his comfort food is like a 12-hour smoked ribs. But because for him, that is very much the recipes online. But it is that process of like, because his life is so hectic, that process of spending the time and taking the care of it. That's the beauty to him, and that's what really is the comfort part. It's peeling the apple. And the food's delicious. Ordering
the strawberries. It's making sure the butter is chilled. It's making, it's the process. It's really not about the food. The food is at the end you go, yeah, that's really, really great. The comfort is the process.
Right. Now, I know you briefly talked about the Walmart ice cream, but do you have another guilty pleasure food? Because there's comfort food, and then there's guilty pleasure food.
Well, I did mention those ice cream sandwich bars earlier. Those were really good. Okay. Here's one that I've just started doing since I moved into this house. So I bought this house in September of 2024. 3 days before Helene is when I closed on this house. And I couldn't get insurance on it because it needed a roof, and there were 2 storms coming. I've started taking a carafe, like you would do a tart or something in, and I mix equal portions of peanut butter and jelly in it, swirl it all up, get a sleeve of Ritz crackers, and sit at the TV and just shove them in my face. I don't know what it is about that.
I kind of like that. Yeah.
But it's good. It's good, and the buttery cracker with the kind of a combo of peanut butter and jelly on it, big old dollop on there. It's super easy. And if I need a quick, let's make something special happen for my face, that's what happens.
I like it, and that's a little quick one anybody can have. I like that. Yeah, don't be ashamed
Equal portion of peanut butter and jelly, swirl together, Ritz cracker. Done.
That's great.
Ice cream.
And obviously. Well, I love your sweet tooth. I love that everything comes back to something sweet with you, and that mirrors your personality, your wonderful sweet personality.
Thank you.
Chuck, I appreciate you being on. Let's go ahead and tell us once more where people can find your podcast and all the stuff that you're doing now.
I'm on Spotify and YouTube. The episodes are really short. They're like between 7 and 9 minutes, so it's super easy to just get what you need. It's called The Real Happy Ending Podcast with Chuck Henson. Again, Spotify and YouTube. You can search it there. I've got a digital product that are called 4 Minutes of Stillness that I narrate those, and those are downloadable from a PayHip site. And we're doing now, and a friend of mine who's a nurse in Gainesville, she suggested this because in all the podcasts, I give people homework, stretches to do, things like that, just to kind of keep yourself moving. So we're creating a wellness guide, the Real Happy Ending Wellness Guide. It'll be on the PayHip link after 2 weeks from now. But everything that we mention in the podcast is going in that PDF. It's going to be $10. And then if you get it now at $10, everything I add to it for the duration of the podcast automatically updates to your file. So you won't have to you'll just basically get an evolving. And so then everything will be in one place. So if you want to know how to do that stuff, that's there. Otherwise, social media, you can search me. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm not on X. I'm not a Snapchat person. I'm on Substack,
Right.
but that's just to read the political articles.
Right.
Really, Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is probably the best place to find me. Chuck
All
Henson.
right, I'll put all that information on,
Yeah.
and I'll put the. You'll shoot me the link to the hip stack, and I'll put that in the description as well.
I'm
so
really
people
happy
have
you
that.
did this, Jeff. Thank you so much. This has been a really nice way to spend the morning here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, and it's also been just great reconnecting with you. So I have very much appreciated it. And
Nice.
that is officially another episode of It Gets Butter. Thank you very much, Chuck.
I love it. Have a great day, my
All
friend.
right. Thank you.